One of the things we built is this predictive layer to understand the type of themes, the type of collections, the content that can be associated with certain outcomes. And so that allows us to get beyond just demographic targeting and get a little bit more richer into the types of content. And I'm not just talking like sports. Let's go a level or two deeper into the events, the moments, the things like that. One of the best places for this, and we see it every day now that we have YouTube connected to the CTV and linear activity that we're doing, is YouTube. YouTube is the ultimate destination for contextual television.
This week on Next in Media, as part of my ongoing series on the YouTube ad ecosystem with my partners at Cadent View Planner, I talked to Cadent President Doug Rozen. Doug and I sat down in Canada to discuss what has held brands back from truly buying and planning media in a video-centric fashion, and where YouTube does and doesn't fit in a TV strategy. Doug and I also talked about cross-platform measurement progress and the state of the upfront market overall. Let's get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Next in Media. We're here again live in Cannes. I'm talking to Doug Rozen. You're the president of Cadent. Is that right, Doug?
That's right.
We're just fresh off doing an event together, so I want to ask you about some of the stuff we talked about there. But you had talked about the total video concept. You know, people in the industry have been trying to unify their video, or talking about being video-centric for a long time. What's behind the thinking, and what are you aiming to solve there?
Well, let's just put our hats on as an everyday viewer of video. We're watching an episode, and we see the same ad 4 times.
That does happen.
Same episode. Then we go online, and that ad's following us around.
Right.
Then we go watch some TV, and we see the same ad there. And the consumer, us, we're not sitting there saying, "Oh my God, that brand has great frequency," or "that reach is amazing." We sit there and say, like, "Make it stop." And we do this as media practitioners, but we actually do this as media practitioners to ourselves.
Right. We talk about all the great targeting we can do, and then that happens.
Yeah. And so it's this notion or this contrast between the power of precision, or is it just power of persistence?
Right.
And what is the thing that is driving it? And right now it seems that it's more about persistence.
And is that, that's a common complaint in the CTV. CTV advertising is still relatively new, and the growing pains are acceptable to a point, but everyone is frustrated with that frequency thing. Is there what can be done about that?
Well, I think first of all, you need to plan video in totality.
Yeah.
It's something we're really focused on. One plan, one audience, one time. If you think about how video is mostly planned and bought, you have different groups doing it differently, and you could have 5 groups buying Hulu from different angles: the digital group, the local group, the national group, the programmatic group. And so they might not know that they're all doubling up on, certain programmings or plays or things like that. So that's where the frequency comes in. Or you might be buying from one partner that's actually repping the eventual spot being, aired as much as, doing something else. So for us, having this total video.
Right. You can't change the way the companies are organized.
That's right.
At least so you're thinking it help them channel this better.
Yeah. So if you have one plan against one audience, you should get to a unified reach and frequency that will help make the customer experience better.
What about on the CTV front? Again, there's so much exuberance for the things we can do potentially, and in terms of bringing the best of digital targeting to TV.
Yeah.
But I wonder, are we going a little bit too far on that? We're not taking advantage of what's inherently natural to that space.
Yeah, I think inherently the notion of connected television is amazing, but there's too much emphasis on the notion of connections and not enough on the contextualization of the video. So it's great that things are being integrated. Integration is important, but I think that inevitably is what's driving some of the frequency challenges, but also because you're not focusing on the context, you're just trying to get to the person, you're missing the value. And so we talk a lot about why contextual TV is better than connected TV. That contextual is what will drive the performance more than just the connection.
And when it comes to contextual TV, is it more for brands? Is it more about, I want to know where my stuff is and keep me away from things I don't want to be in and be my favorite shows? Or is there a strategic value to certain context will drive certain types of reactions or outcomes.
Totally. One of the things we built is, this predictive layer to understand the type of themes, the type of collections, the content that can be associated with certain outcomes. And so that allows us to get beyond just demographic targeting and get a little bit more richer into the types of content. And I'm not just talking like sports. Let's go a level or two deeper into the events, the moments, the things like that. One of the best places for this, and we see it every day now that we have YouTube connected to the CTV and linear activity that we're doing, is YouTube. YouTube is the ultimate, destination for contextual television.
Well, that was going to be my next question. That there's a lot of hope that you could bring all these worlds together, especially as YouTube becomes more and more ascendant on television. But not everybody's there. Are you guys able to help brands unify their TV and video YouTube strategies?
That's exactly what we're doing when you think about the total video proposition is, how do you have, first of all, there's a lot of reach and frequency tools out there that give you a sense of like linear plus CTV or different components of CTV. But we're also now doing is bringing YouTube into that. So if you think about your overall, video strategy, I think a lot of times YouTube is planned either with the video team, or the search team, or maybe the programmatic team, maybe the social team. So it goes back to this, like if we can create this notion where it's okay if it's programmed with the search team, but YouTube is part of a video strategy. Or a lot of times it's part of a Google plan. Versus, they're going to do YouTube, they're going to optimize search,
do some pro AMC or something.
Yeah. So if you think about YouTube more as part of your video strategy, yes, it can also be part of your performance strategy. It doesn't have to be either or, but you have to look at it in that context because the consumer now, they're watching more YouTube on their television set than ever before.
Right. I want to come back to that, but with the promise of contextual, are brands bought into the value of that certain types of content or scenes resonate in different ways with consumers, or is that something that still has to be proven out? They don't necessarily have a contextual budget yet, I guess.
Yeah, it's like what's old is new, because if you look at what really worked in digital back in the day, you and I were fortunate to be, in those moments, it was contextual targeting.
Sure.
And I think this goes back to where we're starting, precision versus persistence. Sometimes, you can be very precise about the types of places you want to be. It's how brands think about IRL type things. Like they have contextual decisions around their event marketing, their sponsorships. So why does that have to leave us when we start to layer on ad tech and other type of components? How do you have that contextual be a part of it? It's not throwing all the connection and the audience kind of intelligence out. It's just putting this on top of it to be a little bit smarter, a little bit more intelligent.
I don't know why you had to point out that I've been around for a long time as well.
Cool, because I've been with you, man.
But the on the agency side, you're a former agency person. Yeah. Do you think, are we eventually going to see a reorg of how, like, are these pieces all going to have to eventually come together, or is that something that's just going to take a long time?
I think smart agencies, or I'll say just smart service providers, because there's a lot of different ways this could come to market, will realize format matters as much as channel. And so video should be planned as video, not video as channel, because I think the channels are starting to merge and be less consistent or rigid.
Right.
But you could do the same with audio. You can do the same with pictures. You can say, flat or static image, which out of home and display and things like that could all be in that catalog or consideration.
We keep talking about total video. Are we in a place yet where there is a right way to measure all that? Is that something that is not realistic? Where does that stand for you guys?
Well, I think it depends on what stage of the funnel you are.
Yeah.
You should have total video for, your awareness, and that's going to be a certain set of KPIs and mid-funnel consideration and then low-funnel conversion. You can have that unified measurement across all of it. And I think, people just have to realize there's not a one size fits all. It really comes down to the objective you want your video strategy to carry.
And I guess lastly, you've been talking to folks at Cannes, like what's the marketplace right now? It's It seems like a weird moment. The economy's strong, people are spending, but there was a lot of uncertainty in the world. Like, where do things kind of stand right now?
Yeah, I think there's this opportunistic is probably the right word I would put to it. I think everyone had a okay kind of first half.
Yeah.
And so people are thinking opportunistic for the second half. Obviously, we've got a lot of strong things going on in the ad market with World Cup. Certainly the NBA playoffs were exciting. Sports has been doing what sports has been doing from an ad provocative kind of standpoint. I think the second half you've got, political is going to come in, and then holiday will be interesting. I think there's a lot of uncertainty. So I think we're just now used to managing the uncertainty.
Yeah, it's been kind of the way of the world, right?
Yeah. So I'd say the first half of the year was addressing the uncertainty or kind of navigating the uncertainty. I like to think the second half is going to be like understanding that we just now live in an uncertain environment, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, just getting to work.
Yeah.
All right, awesome conversation, Doug. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, talk to you soon.
Thanks again to my guests this week, Cadent View Planners Doug Rozen and my partners at Cadent View Planner. If you like this week's episode, please take a moment to rate and leave a review. We have lots more to bring you, so please hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time for more What's Next in Media. Thanks for listening.